Well, hello there to all of our automotive enthusiast and car culture friends who are digging this stuff all around the planet Earth. It happened one more time. A loose finger got away, and you pushed the play button on yet another...
Kevin, another exemplary episode of V8 Radio.
Hey, exemplary. Well, I think so. I'm your host, Kevin Oeste, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clarke, and this is the V8 Radio podcast, or should I say, an exemplary example of the V8 Radio podcast.
Well said, sir. Well said.
So what makes it exemplary?
Sorry, I didn't do that much research.
You can certainly make an example out of this show, what not to do.
Yes, you certainly can.
Yeah. Well, one thing you can do is enjoy an automotive trivia question. How about that? Start every episode with an automotive trivia question. We invite you to play along at home or in your car or on your lawnmower or on your roof, wherever you are. And
if it's not exemplary, it certainly is portable.
Right. It's like the porta potty of podcasts. It's a porta podcast.
And there it is. There it is. Another
Good night,
Brown
everybody.
episode.
Brown star.
Oh, man.
Another t-shirt idea. Ah, man. So have you, in fact, prepared a trivia question for this episode?
In fact, I have. Okay, here we go. So, Kevin, tell me, and our listeners, when did the Z06 Corvette first become its own model rather than just an option?
The Z06. Mm-hmm. So the Z06 Corvette, of course, is it's kind of the club racer version of the Corvette.
Right.
A little bit lighter. There was occasion that it had a separate body style. And I'm going to say I remember driving a Z06 as a press car that was, I believe, the first time it was its own model. And it was blue, I think. And it was on loan to my good friend, Mr. Roe McGonigal, who was editor of Hot Rod Magazine at the time. And Roe had an interesting deal going on because not only was he the editor at Hot Rod, he was also the car newspaper columnist for the whatever the big paper is in San Diego. Come in.
Apologies.
I've heard that. So he would get these cars to be reviewed, new cars to be reviewed for the San Diego Chronicle, I think it was, whatever the San Diego newspaper is. And then he'd play with hot rods at his day job. So I'm going to say that was in late 90s, maybe 99, maybe 98. I got to think. It's right around there, I believe. And I'm going to say it was 99. That's my final answer. It was also the time that my friend Roe came home with a Honda Insight hybrid. For the very first time, I had driven a hybrid vehicle, and we effectively nicknamed that one the Honda Insect.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice.
It kind of looked like one.
Very nice. So 99, final answer.
That's what I'm going with.
All right. Duly noted.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for me?
All right. You ready for this?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. This is a trivia question that kind of came to me once recently, and I have an answer, although I'm not sure how I got there. I tried to validate the answer today, and I couldn't. I know I got it before, so I'm fairly sure it's legit. This is really more about the premise. So, you decide, speaking of electric and hybrid vehicles, you decide to trade in the GTO on a used Tesla one day, right?
Oh, God. Okay.
Just play along.
All right.
So your used Tesla, you think, I need to go buy some auto parts. I'm going to go to the Advanced Auto store down the street, which I don't know that they have one by you, but it's a national brand, Advanced Auto.
Sure.
The trivia question is, how many Tesla parts does Advanced Auto store? And the hint is, this spans 11 years and 3 different models of Tesla, if you will.
Of Tesla?
Yes, plural of Tesla.
All right. Well, Tesla is kind of a different animal. I mean, not just being an electric car, but Tesla does not adhere to the dealership model of selling cars, where you have a manufacturer that has a dealer chain that sells your vehicles for them. So you buy directly from the manufacturer. So you kind of go to these Tesla boutiques, if you will, and they have display models for you to look at and decide if this is what you want, and then you order your Tesla and it gets delivered to you. Well, they also carry kind of a different philosophy in service as well. So you have to get your Tesla serviced at an authorized Tesla service dealer. And what that means is they do not sell auto parts to aftermarket auto part dealer chains. So my answer is going to be Advanced Auto has sold or stored 0 Tesla parts.
0.
Over 11 years and 3 models.
Well, that's an interesting guess. So, in many ways, the OEs are the same way. They want you to get your vehicle fixed at their dealer, and they don't really sell. You can't go and buy a Cadillac Fender at an AutoZone.
No, but you can get a Cadillac water pump.
Sure, but it could be made by Cardone or by
right. But I don't think there's any aftermarket Tesla parts either.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out at the end of the show.
So your final answer is Zilcheruni.
Yes, sir.
All right. I wrote down 0 with an exclamation point.
Sweet.
Well, that way I'll know to properly inflect at the end of the show.
I have some inflection on my answer too for you.
Yeah, I bet. All right, so here we are, man.
Yeah, man. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks.
It has.
So you just got back from the SEMA Show last week, where you had a week doing what you do out there, and glad handing and manning the SEMA stage and interviewing all kinds of cool people. And tell us about that.
It was a great show. It was a lot of fun. It was an interesting feel this time. This year felt far more like a reunion. Dare I say, a family reunion, a good one, than in recent years. I think last year after the pandemic, everybody was kind of in shock that we were even there. And everyone was kind of peeking around the corners to see what was different, and like a kitty cat entering a room for the first time,
right.
a little reserved. But this year was just like it was nice. It was a lot of people were very, very kind and complimentary, and everybody was genuinely happy to see each other. And a lot of stuff happened. There was a lot of new parts released, and. You looked like you were about to say something there.
No, from what I hear, the attendance was up quite a bit from last year.
The attendance was up quite a bit, like 35%, I think they're saying officially.
That's awesome.
Or they were anyway. And then, but the interesting part about that is that travel from the Asian corridor was still restricted.
Really?
Yeah. So they suspect that if the Asian corridor travelers were allowed to come, they would have been just shy of pre-pandemic attendance levels.
That's fantastic.
People came to the show. It was on.
Yeah.
And even with the lack of a couple of the OEs, other OEs just filled those holes like crazy.
I bet.
So where GM Performance used to be in the middle of the center hall, this time it was Stellantis and our friends from Dodge, and they just made an awesome display. They had a giant wraparound video screen and simulators and cars and engines. Oh, it was great. Yeah. And where Ford used to be across the front of the hall was occupied by Toyota. And Toyota had race cars and trucks and, drift cars and all kinds of stuff. So there was no holes in the action.
So neither Ford nor GM were there.
Correct.
That blows my mind.
Well, it's interesting. And the funny thing is, like, when Ford and GM first went to that show, everyone's like, what are they doing here? It's an aftermarket show. Uh-huh. And now it's like, well, GM, why aren't they there? And I get the line that SEMA likes to use is that we can't do what we do until they do what they do, right? They got to build the cars that we can modify. Mm-hmm. But we're in an interesting time where, as you believe anyway, that the EV part world and modification world, I don't know if it's there yet. So it's not like, so Ford has the Mustang Mach-E, which was on display there last year. And there was a custom version of it, but it's not like you can go to the Ford dealer and buy a crate Mach-E motor, So I think the aftermarket, or let me change that. The OE level performance and accessory market for EVs consists of a few styling products, like wings and headlight covers and just a few things. And I know they're expanding that. But in the past, if you looked at what they would bring out, Ford would have crate motors and they would have accessory drives and they would have, the Ford Racing Performance parts catalog is substantial. There's all kinds of stuff in that. But Ford basically split in half, right? So now it's the Ford electric side and then the other side is basically Ford trucks and Mustang. So I believe, and this is only my feeble-minded interpretation, but I think, their investors in Wall Street are looking at this like, how much money are you going to spend on this show when we're really not marketing that stuff at this point?
I see. So it could be an instance of you are transitioning to electric. Why do you want to display this internal combustion stuff? And you don't really have a big aftermarket presence with your electric stuff yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's millions of dollars to do it.
Wow.
So, and I believe GM's in the same boat. And what was interesting, and again, this is purely a rumor, but it's a rumor I could easily believe, is that day one of the show, when all the photos got out of the Dodge display and the Toyota display, it was rumored on the show floor that there were higher-ups at Ford and GM saying, wait a minute, why aren't we there? What happened?
Oh, man.
It's purely speculation, friends. I don't know, but it's something that I heard. But as far as companies that came to rock and roll, they rocked and rolled. There was so much happening. Oh, yeah, it was great. It was great. It was really a nice buzz. And again, last year saw the opening of the West Hall, so the footprint got spread out quite a bit. With an additional 1 million square feet or so of exhibit space, which was evident because the density of the crowd and there were still some open booth spots here and there, but it makes it very comfortable to walk down the aisles and do your business, knowing that there's these other giant buildings that are also full of stuff. So,
well, right on, man. It sounds like things are really moving and happening and going in the right direction. I love hearing that.
Well, of course, the big news. So this year, once again, they did the SEMA experience, which allows consumers to come into the show on Friday.
Right.
And this is a hot topic because anybody who has a business that is buying a booth there, they're spending a lot of money to be there and they want a return on that. And the return is in making deals with distributors and retailers and installers to make contracts to sell their products. And a consumer comes in, and it's one person. And it's not the type of show where there's a cash register on the counter and you grab something off the display rack and go and buy it. It's just not set up for retail that way. And an individual consumer can burn a lot of time at a display asking questions about their own personal car, right? Hey, do you have any of these for 73 Nova, man? And my buddy's got a GTO, do you make those? And that's all great stuff. I am that guy, You have these for a 70 Riv? No. I mean, they're always short
get out of here. No. Who has a 70 Riv?
All right, well, how about a 79 Dodge van, man?
Yeah, man.
So,
is that cool enough for you?
Yeah, right. Those conversations, I think, are generally better held at events in general that are open to the public, that have a retail component where you can walk up and buy something, and it's a different set of staff. You don't have your B2B level staff. You have your consumer customer service and salespeople at those types of events that are better prepared to answer those questions and do that. But if you have a trade event and then on Friday open it up to consumers, now you got to have both. You got to have the ability to answer the consumer level question, and it's still really not set up to sell stuff right there on the floor. Maybe somebody, I don't know if they did or not. I don't know the nuances there. If they could order something and get it later, kind of thing. So there's that. Then there's the other side of it where there is an etiquette of professionalism in the trade show environment. But I will say that there are people that are in the business that do not possess the proper etiquette. And there are people in the consumer side. Yeah, people in the consumer side that have a far higher level of etiquette.
Yeah.
And the way SEMA combated that was to make the ticket expensive.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to be in there, you wanted to be in there, and that suggests that you kind of knew the rules to the game and knew what you were getting into. That was worth it if you could get in and see it all in a Friday afternoon setting, which I don't think you can. So,
right.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and the consumers are always clamoring, we want to see the stuff. And again, you got to send that message that it'll get out there. It's just not going to be that day. But what they're going to do next year is kind of blow the lid off of Vegas, which is pretty cool. They've launched a program that they're calling SEMA Week, which is a week-long festival starting with SEMA Fest.
Really?
And yeah, so as it is right now, at the end of the show on Friday, the show closes, the trade show closes, everybody starts loading up their displays, the cars leave, that becomes the SEMA Cruise. They drive by, they wave to me and Joe Sebergandio. They go across the street to Ignited if they wish to participate in the Ignited Festival, which is drifting and music and craziness. Well, now that is going to expand into being an auction.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
And additional consumer level shows, car shows, and a consumer, I guess, retail experience where a lot of the companies that were displaying in the SEMA show, B2B, can now go out and display their stuff to the public and sell it. So the consumer is going to get what they want from the standpoint of being able to be part of the action.
Holy cats.
And they're going to have concerts, and the model is kind of the South by Southwest Festival, the big technology show in Texas.
Right.
I believe that's Texas, right? Austin?
Yes.
So, and coincidentally, in 2023, at the end of that week, is the kickoff of the Formula One race in Vegas.
No. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be ridiculous. It is going to be car enthusiast and racing, and there's an NHRA event.
Shut up. My God, it's Car Mecca that week.
It is. And that's kind of the mission, is to make this the biggest, highest energy car event on the planet. And think they got a chance to do it,
Yeah. Holy cow. Wow. That's huge. That's big news.
Huge. Yeah. So anybody will be able to attend any of the SEMA Fest and SEMA Week events, that happen after the show. Yeah. And then I don't know that they're going to do the whole. They're going to kind of ramp into this, and I know the auction and a car show type situation and the concert stuff is going to be first, I believe, and then they're going to kind of expand it out as the next couple of years progress, as they ramp into it. But they're investing in it. They want the consumers to understand that they're not trying to ignore them. They want to include them as much as they can. They will still do the consumer experience on Friday.
Okay.
So if you want to pony up to see the big show inside, you can have that opportunity. But it's still trade the first part of the week up until Friday, B2B only. So it's a lot, it's cool.
That is very cool. Talking about that SEMA experience on Friday, I would be curious to have a survey go out to many of these exhibitors to see what their experience was with the consumers and how they interacted with them, and if they think it was a positive or negative for them.
It's a great question, and I've unofficially seen both in social comments and talking with different companies. Mm-hmm. Those that are prepared for that seem to think it's pretty cool because they mm-hmm. appreciate, without the consumers, they're not in business. And that it really kind of perhaps puts a little pressure on the front half of the week to say, let's get our stuff done. Let's achieve our business to business goals and anticipate that Friday is going to be a different environment. And then to anybody who's been to that show for the whole week anyway, there's kind of an arc that occurs where, Thursday night is the banquet and you're there and you might go out Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. So Friday is probably the least amount of actual, hardcore business that happens because people show up a little bit later and, they're hoping to kind of be on the glide path to end the week by Friday. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice time to bring the consumers in as opposed to saying Monday or Tuesday is consumer day and the rest is business. I don't think that's the way to go. I think it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Best to do it at the end of the week. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. You have people who are saying that just burning it out all night. Maybe they show up with their the same shirt on they had the day before, trying to pull it off like they were just getting an early start of the day. Things like that may be happening.
Never heard anything like that before.
I haven't either. I just conjured it up right now.
Who would do that?
I don't know.
I wouldn't do that anymore. That's for sure.
No.
We had one big night out, time wise. That was it was great. It was a night that we just kept running into people and
sure.
Let's hang out and have one more, and then all of a sudden,
well, you're the mayor of SEMA. Of course, you know everybody.
The mayor of SEMA. That's a stretch, but I'm fortunate. I do. Have a lot of friends and acquaintances out there that it's always good to talk. And at the end of the day, even if you don't know the person you're standing next to, chances are they do something cool. So, you meet a lot of people sure. and those nights, they make for brutal mornings, but it's a once a year opportunity. And for some people, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you stay up, you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to experience everything for sure.
Take advantage of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fortunate that in my day job of manning SEMA Central and doing those interviews, I was awake and sharp and on time and ready to rock every morning. So it went well.
You are a consummate professional, sir. Well done.
Well, if you want to come back, you kind of have to be.
Exactly. You got to be the pro.
That's right. You can make that choice. or have a wife that'll help you make that choice for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Speaking of which, Kelly was your boss that week.
That week?
That week, well, especially that week.
Yes. Well, she runs our shop and also, yes, was brought on to be the stage manager, basically, for the SEMA Central Stage, which meant she was in charge of scheduling the interviews. A lot of them were pre-set up, but there was a couple of holes, or if somebody fell out, she worked to get somebody else in, and then literally got the people seated and worked with the sound guys and the camera crew and made sure that they were all ready and locked, and then was a tech director at that point and did the countdown 3, 2, 1, go, and made sure that everything was rolling right and the intro and the closing graphics all happened at the right time. And it was a lot. It's a lot of
sure.
It's a lot of work.
I'm sure she killed it.
Well, she did, and the funny thing was there was two things that were interesting, because I'm more in that world than she is. She's done television with us and done media work, but she's more of a business person and of course a fabricator, enthusiast, builder, and worker-honor of things. So when it comes to like being on the behind-the-scenes production side, she doesn't have a whole lot of experience doing that. And I know she's got the ability, but just it's a little unfamiliar with some of the terminology and, some of the techniques. And of course, a lot of that stuff changes every year as technology advances.
Right.
So the two things that were interesting is a tech director is the person that calls the shots. Now, no doubt you've watched, like, they always show it like during the Super Bowl or during the World Series, where there's a guy in the TV truck with 1,000 monitors in front of him, and he's looking and he's got his headset on and he's like, okay, camera 1, focus, camera 2, get ready. Okay, take camera 2, camera 4, pan to the left. All right, camera 4, focus, ready, camera 4. Okay, take camera 4. All right, now go camera 17, and it's calling all that stuff. And that's a thing,
Yeah.
You have to be on it. You got to know what everything is seeing and everything is doing and everything sounds like all the time. And she has certainly not done that specific task before.
Right.
In this case, the setup was nowhere near as complicated. There was 3 cameras and a sound guy and, gaffers and lighting people and the graphics guy upstairs and the recorder, videotape guy. But when we started doing some rehearsals, she comes to me and says, man, don't these guys know what they're supposed to do? Aren't they professionals? It's like, well, yeah, of course they are. Why?
Yeah.
Well, why do I have to tell them every move? Why do I have to micromanage these people? And I said, that is an interesting observation, because you're not micromanaging them. The tech director literally calls every single shot so that the pro can do what they do at the right time.
Right.
It's not like you're overseeing a bunch of laborers that you've got to tell them, now put the shovel in the dirt, now pick the shovel up, which would be like the ultimate in micromanaging. And I can see the translation where it's like, no, I got to tell this guy to roll, and I got to tell the sound guy and tell them all what to do. And I'm like, yes, but no,
Yeah.
because she doesn't like to micromanage. She likes to empower people to say, you have what you need? Yeah, go do it. So that was interesting. The other one was probably the highest stress setup that we had ever done on SEMA Central. And it just happened to be the very first one.
Oh, man.
And it involved timing, and timing is always, it can be a very stressful thing. And so here's the setup. Have you seen the Gymkhana Las Vegas video that Hoonigan did with Ken Block?
I don't know if I saw that one specifically, but I've seen some of those Gymkhana videos, yeah.
Okay, well, the week before SEMA, they launched a new one, and it's Gymkhana Vegas.
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
Really?
Ken Block is driving an all-wheel drive electric Audi rally car.
Really?
Through the streets of Las Vegas, doing his typical drifting and spinning and donuts and jumps through casino hallways. And, oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, man.
Fremont Street, the whole thing. So, I mean, it's just this wonderfully cool video. And Ken Block and the director of that film were there at SEMA. And Hoonigan had a giant display out in front, which it used to be occupied by Ford. It was called Ford Out Front, and they had their drift track out there. Well, this was
right. Yeah, I remember, was watching that last time. Yeah.
Yep. Well, now this year was a Hoonigan demo track out there instead, and eBay Motors. So they partnered up to truncate this Gymkhana Las Vegas video to be the daily start video for the show, for the whole SEMA show.
Ooh, wow.
And we've got at SEMA Central these giant screens overhead, and the plan was the doors open technically at 9 a.m. So 1 minute, 8:59:59, you cue that video, and there's a 1 minute cut down, and it plays, and it goes out over the audio system that we had, and everybody can hear it in the center hall, not in the whole center hall, but in the grand lobby, it's called.
Yeah.
And the last 5 seconds of the video, they extended to make a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 graphic countdown, and then boom, doors open to go to the show, right?
Yeah.
So super cool. That involves timing. You literally 8:59:59, this thing's got to be queued, ready to go, and hit play. So you got to tell the playback guy and everybody and the audio guy that, get this ready. Well, Tuesday morning, not only was it the first day of the show, but our very first interview guest was Ken Block, who was driving that car, right? Yeah, one of the part owners of Hoonigan, very famous rally driver, one of the co-founders of DC Shoes. I mean, Ken Block has done all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
So we get the great idea, and I'm not sure exactly where the idea came from. It could have been the gentleman, Rick, from the production company. I may have had a little bit to do with it, but we decided to use the countdown video as the intro for the interview, as well as the countdown to light the show off.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, that's what I thought. So traditionally, there's an introductory graphic that happens, a little sequence at the beginning of each one of these videos. So, or these SEMA Central interviews. So if you're going to tech direct this, I don't know, that thing's maybe 15 seconds long. You cue that, you play that, and then when it comes down to 3 or 4 seconds left, somebody's pointing 3, 2, 1, go to me, and then I say, hey, we're here at SEMA Central, right as that graphic video ends, and it's a live intro. But we thought, hey, how cool would it be to come right out of Ken Block destroying Las Vegas into a live interview that we're recording? So now you've got the timing of getting the Ken Block intro video set precisely at 8:59:59:59.
Right.
And that at exactly 9 o'clock has to cue the doors opening of the show. And somebody points to me to kick off the interview at the exact same time. Wow. Yeah, it was fun.
There's a few moving parts there.
Yeah, Kelly was going out of her mind.
But here's the good part about that. If she does this again next year, it won't be anywhere near as complex.
No, it certainly won't. Because we'd never even tried that before. And again, I'm not sure why we even did this time. But you know what? It went off perfectly.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a cool idea, man.
It was a great idea, and it went off without a hitch. And Ken was good to go, and I had enough. $28 Starbucks coffee in me to rock and roll.
You must have got the small.
I did, yeah, at the convention center right there. So, she was understandably nervous because this is her first time doing this, and then we throw that at her.
Well, you're good about that. Because you've done that to me more than once.
Yeah, but it's all about growth, man.
Yeah, man, growth. Shut your mouth. Grow this.
Hey, I had to grow at those same exact times. So
Yeah.
Well, you were growing at the MCACN show. I was trying to grow in Saudi Arabia. And the one time when you and I were both growing overnight live, that was a big
Yeah.
Afterwards, it took a few minutes to decompress, but we were like, this is awesome. So she killed the whole week. I mean, it went really well. The whole crew was really good this year.
Nice.
People were real sharp, and it went very well. So
that's great to hear, man. I dig it. Yeah. I see that the feature artist this year was my best friend Chip Foose.
That's right. How's the mold on your hand, by the way?
It's growing at an alarming rate.
Yes. Yeah, it was. Foose did the graphic package for the show. That was killer. I got to stare at the awesome 59 Cadillac image that he did with the Vegas sign, and that was blown up. And it was mounted over the entryway, and it was backlit with a red neon. I mean, and that was one of the most photographed things there.
Wow,
I'm positive.
That's killer.
You type in SEMA 22, you'll see that image.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, the Monday night reveal the night before went off without a hitch.
Right.
Well, let me rephrase that. There was a couple hitches, but we got through them.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, one was that one of the cars that came across was one of the 3 on-screen hero cars from Gone in 60. So one of the GT 500E Eleanor, Shelby Mustangs. So there was, I guess, I want to say either 7 or 10 of them built, and a bunch of them were stunt cars, and there were 3 nice ones that were the beauty shot cars, and this is one of those. And by the way, those were designed by Steve Stanford and built by Foose in like a week, all of them.
Good
week or
Lord.
10 days. Yeah. And this particular car still looks good today. You know, that movie came out in 97, 8?
Something like that.
And it's got a few chips on it and stuff, which was cool. It means it's chips on it.
Hey-o.
But it's getting driven, and it actually lives in Germany now.
Really?
That particular one, and it's if I understood correctly, it's owned by the guys, or it was brought over by the team from C-Tech, and C-Tech does high-tech battery chargers and maintainers, and they had that car in their booth. Well, we're going to have it at the SEMA Monday night reveal, which means it's going to come up the ramp, and the guy's going to get out. We're going to talk about it. And we changed the format of the reveal a little bit. It used to have a live band, which we'd talked about here before. Right. Really love that. This year they went to a DJ.
Really?
And yeah, well, part of the thing was that the band that we've been using, Patrick and the LVB, had like this giant Halloween obligation, and this was happening Halloween night. So he just
come
couldn't.
On, Patrick.
Yeah, I think he got paid a lot more to do the other one. So
well, still priorities, man. Come on, where's your loyalty?
Yeah, he's very loyal
to the almighty dollar. That's where.
Well, when you got a horn section over there that's hungry, you got to throw him something. You know.
That's true.
So the DJ concept I thought was pretty cool too, because it added a level of energy in the sense that the cadence in the past was band plays, I come up, bring a car up, talk to the guy, car leaves, band plays like a full song, and then next car or whatever. Well, this way, because it's not live music, you can just ramp it down, bring the music level down and get the next car up in the middle of a song, and it's not going to seem weird,
I got you. Okay.
So we condensed the time quite a bit of the between the car stuff. There was less of a display with no vehicle, waiting for the next one. You had less of that. And they wanted more info and interaction about the cars. So the people at SEMA were like, go for it, just learn all about them, So that was really cool. We were doing like 10, 12-minute interviews.
No kidding.
Of each car. And at one point, I asked the audience and kind of explained to them that the format changed a little bit, and I hope they didn't mind the longer banter, and everyone loved it. They thought it was great.
Good. Right on.
So Eleanor comes driving up on stage, and the header collectors get hooked on the end of the ramp, and the car's stuck on the ramp.
Oh, no. Ah, jeez.
It doesn't even make it to the plateau flat spot on top of the thing. So the driver is like, oh, no, sorry, ain't going to go anywhere. So we're like, okay. And a couple people come around, and it's like, can they pick it up? Can they grab the bumper, and try and lift it? Well, not going to happen. It's stuck good.
Oh, boy.
So the event producer, Rick, immediately calls our friend Bud Brutzman from BCII Productions. Of course, the guys that do overhauling and, all those.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that guy.
And I think it might actually be Bud's ramps that we were using for that. So,
oh boy, Bud.
Bud comes running out with some race ramps and, a floor jack and some stuff. And these guys start to get to work on getting this car mobile. And I said, well, to the driver, why don't you just jump on out and let's talk about this car while these guys are getting it unstuck, And that's what we did. We talked about it until they were clear and got to learn all about it. And I learned it's very difficult to import cars like that to Germany.
Really?
Resto mods, yeah. There's parts in there that, they're not certified, built for that vehicle. Because it's kind of a hot rod, and the German government doesn't like that. And
they don't have much of a sense of humor about things like that, do they?
Yeah, no.
Or in general.
Right. How many Germans does it take to change a light bulb? One, because we're efficient and we don't have humor. There's my horrible German accent for the day. My apologies to anybody listening in Germany. So that, it got stuck. It rolled back down backwards and was on its merry way. But it didn't matter. We pulled it off and it still got the goods. And that's live stuff. That's what you get.
It's live TV, man.
That's it.
Well, not live TV, but
Somebody was shooting it.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of press.
Yeah, I was hoping there would have been a live stream of that, but I couldn't find anything to do that. I know that you set something like that up once a number of years ago that I helped you with, but
you did.
Nothing since then.
That was a pretty big job. But yeah, you never know. I'm sure there's video of it out there now at some point.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But then kind of fast forwarding back into SEMA Central, the cars were unbelievable again. There was a lot of cars that were built for last year's show that didn't come, that came this year. So there was just a high volume of great SEMA cars. And
right.
What's fun to me is you've probably seen, the Facebook group of SEMA Fails. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
So somebody started a group of, it's called SEMA Fails, and I'm not trying to promote it, but it is kind of funny. And they take pictures of the first thing was all the Bluetooth drive shafts. Right? Because a lot of the custom lifted 4-wheel drive trucks are effectively 2-wheel drive because they didn't have a front drive shaft. Okay. And people would take pictures and say, check out the Bluetooth drive shaft, because it's not there,
Nice.
And then it would digress into like, if somebody found a bad weld on something, they would zoom in and take that picture and then, share it on SEMA.
Of course. All right.
Yeah. And I think what I've deduced is that most of those people that are on that have never been to the show and have certainly never built a car for the show and don't understand the time frame that's involved. And, some of these things a manufacturer will say, hey, it's August 1st. We want a SEMA car and then, go to town, and it takes everything you can do. And yeah, there's always a handful of things that are pretty sketchy, but there's certainly an monumentally overwhelming majority of awesomeness everywhere else.
Oh, for sure.
I thought it was funny because this year the SEMA Fails site showed like the same car like five or six different times over. Like they didn't find a whole lot of stuff this year.
Wow, no kidding.
To pick on, yeah, which I thought was cool.
That is cool.
And
Must
you know
have been
what,
those Friday people taking those pictures.
Yeah. Well, who knows? But I don't condemn them from doing that in the sense that there is this perception that this is the best of the best. This is what you want. This is
right.
the highest end. And if somebody is able to sneak in a car that is not that, well, that's not really what you want. You want to showcase the best of what you can do. So just a tremendous amount of awesome cars and trucks. And I was working SEMA Central mostly. I did get a chance to jump off a couple of times. I was one of the judges for the TMI Trim Award contest, which is an interior design and execution contest hosted by TMI Products.
Okay.
And that was really cool. It was a great group of judges. The guys from Auto Revolution, the content director from Motor Trend, the truck side, Teresa Contreras and Sarah Morrison, both builders and former SEMA Person of the Year. We were all judges on this thing, and they didn't just award cars that had their stuff. So
Good.
There was like open classes for like, the best of the show was anything. And then they did have awards for like the best TMI stuff, but then also, best car, best truck, whatever.
Sure.
So I got to run around and see the show that way, which was cool. But then, of course, getting back to SEMA Central and all told up, between the Monday Night Reveal and SEMA Central, I think I did 51 interviews.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Plus maybe another 20 in the cruise with people going by and talking to them in their car. So
that SEMA cruise is fun, man.
It is fun. It's cool.
Yeah.
And it was humping. But one of the interviews at SEMA Central was Mr. Mike Spagnola. And Mike is the CEO of SEMA. And it was such a cool thing because he's a total car guy. He's owned businesses that do custom parts and car stuff, and we started the interview pointing out that much like a whole bunch of other people, a week before he himself was thrashing on his SEMA project.
Really?
Yeah.
What was his project?
It's one of the new Zs, one of the new Nissans.
Mm.
And I think when he had said there was only like 100 of them in the country at this point.
Wow.
And the prototype went across SEMA Central or SEMA Reveal last year. If you remember me talking about the Japanese guy, the program director of that car that we were interviewing last year. Well, now the street version is here, and Spagnola's got one, and he was doing wheels and suspension and brakes and a bunch of stuff to it.
Yeah.
And I saw it, rolling into the show, which was very cool. So he gets all sides of this. He's been from a car builder to somebody displaying product, and of course being the guy behind the SEMA Garage. That was the reason why they got him involved, was he headed up the SEMA Garage project.
Mm.
So we start the interview, and this year for him, it's his first year at the SEMA Show as CEO. Mm-hmm. And he did this great speech where he acknowledges people from his past that got him interested in cars and a career in the automotive side.
All right.
And he starts with, I bet if we think back to our younger years in school, we can't remember our math teacher's name, but I can remember all my shop teachers and auto shop teachers' names.
All day.
And yeah. And the cool thing was he invited them to be there. So
no way.
One of them had passed away, I think, but then the guy's wife was there, and then another one of his teachers was there in the audience at the banquet. So how cool was that to acknowledge them? To say,
That
look how far I've come,
Yeah, look at me. I'm really not that dummy you thought I was anymore.
Well, yeah. And then he pointed out that when he was in high school, a gentleman came to talk to his class that was a heavy hitter in the racing world, and not only gave a presentation but also was awarding scholarships, $200 cash scholarships. And he awarded Mike a $200 cash scholarship. So Spagnola was a recipient of that scholarship that was presented to him by Mikey Thompson.
No way. Get out of here.
Yeah. So Mikey Thompson, came to his school like on a career day thing and talked to his shop class. And I think that's where he met him, and they remained friends, for his whole life, Thompson's whole life. So in the audience at the banquet was Danny Thompson, Mickey's son, who's also a land speed racer and a record holder. And he acknowledged him, and everybody cheered. And it was just super cool. It was a great, tie-in to somebody's roots, and especially to have those people there, made it all very real. So in my case, I remember that he was talking at a previous SEMA Hall of Fame banquet over the summer, that the thing that got him interested in cars was the Mickey Thompson 4-engine streamliner model kit from 1962, right? And he said, I remember building that thing, and it was so cool because it had 4 engines in it, and it was just, I think he at that point he thought he could maybe use those in other kits. It was a great deal. It came with the 4 engines, or he could build it, like the race car, the whole thing. So I'm interviewing him, and he's talking about the show and the state of the union and how everything's going. And I said, well, you're a car guy going way back. And he laughed, and he said, yeah, and he kind of told the high school scholarship story and the Mickey Thompson story. And I said, but you go back even further than that. You were into this as a kid. And he said, well, yeah, actually you're right. I remember building this model kit from the early 60s with the Mickey Thompson Challenger 1 land speed racer, and how cool it was to build that car. And I said, do you want to do it again? And I handed him a copy of that model.
That's right.
And we got him crying on camera. The video has CEO Mike Spagnola crying, holding this model kit. It was so cool.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really something.
Oh, I'm glad you were able to do that. I remember you telling me about that. Oh, I'm so excited. That is awesome. That is so awesome.
And we finish up, and he's like, dude, you got me.
Yeah, dead to right in the heart, you got him.
Yeah, right in the bottom of the feels.
Yeah.
But I told him, you said that was the thing, and I know, and how important those silly connections are to that stuff.
Sure.
And my fear was that, he had a room full of these things anyway at home.
Oh, right.
But I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Judging by the reaction, he was pretty bowled over. And you know what? That's who you want at the helm of an organization like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody who believes in it. Not someone looking just for a CEO gig, but somebody who lives and breathes what you're doing. So that's a great choice.
Somebody you can hand a 60-year-old piece of plastic to and they lose their mind,
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it was really, it took everything I had. I think I cried a little bit too, I'll admit.
Right on.
So I'm really hoping that they let that video out. Because
for sure.
Yeah, that was cool.
They got to let it out. I'll
it's
start
all,
a petition, man.
There you go. Well, I'm inquiring about where all those interview videos are going to land, because there were some really great ones in addition to that, and certainly not because of me, but Antron Brown, the top fuel racer, was an amazingly inspiring guy. I mean, he The very short version is he came up from motorcycle racing to pro stock bikes to Top Fuel with Schumacher Racing, and this year he won the championship at the NHRA a couple of years ago, but he started his own team this year and went from having no building, no trailer, basically no car in January to being second in points as of last weekend in Top Fuel.
Wow, that is cool.
It's amazing. And he said at the beginning of the year, my whole goal was to get down the track, just to get down the track.
Sure.
And now look where they're at. And I said, well, it's because, you have an ability to put a team together. What did you do? And he went on to tell the story about how he puts together a team and gets them all focused on a common goal and gives everybody what they need to get it done, and then everybody kind of just works their ass off to do it, and it worked. So he was, we all were tingling at the end of that conversation. The whole crowd was cheering, and he came down off the stage, and I'm like, dude, we need to borrow you.
Yeah, right.
So that was really neat, and the list goes on and on. But very fortunate to have that opportunity, and I'm sure we'll be telling more stories about that stuff as a few more of these episodes go by, because it was cool.
That is cool. Wasn't Army his big sponsor?
Yeah. He raced with Tony Schumacher, Sarge.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought.
And Matco, he's with Matco Tools now, but I think Matco was part of the deal before. And then everybody from the Williams F1 team to the guys that are building new DeLoreans to the guy that's got the biggest original DeLorean parts warehouse business.
Yeah, a guy in Texas, right?
Yeah. So he was telling us that when you want to go restore a DeLorean, you don't have to worry about the stainless panels because they have over 300 full sets.
Yeah, this guy bought out all the surplus that they had over in
Belfast.
Belfast, where they were building it. Yeah, snapped it all up.
Yep, it's cool.
Hey, we can do something with this.
And he frowns
upon all the literature, I believe. He's
got everything. Yeah,
all the engineering drawings.
He frowns upon those who put LS motors in them.
As he should.
Well, they got that, what is it, a 2.8 Peugeot 6, 135 horsepower, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But he was quick to point out that the car's kind of light, so it is spirited.
Yeah. Okay. I think a 3.8 supercharged would be really good in that.
There you go. Well, when you do yours.
Yeah, okay.
But he validated the trivia question about the DMC-12 being the target $12,000 purchase price.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's correct. He goes, although it ended up being $26,500. So
did you ask that question or did I ask that question?
I think I asked it.
Yeah.
I think that might have been one that showed up twice.
It may have been. So many questions, so many answers.
And I did ask him about the John DeLorean film, and he said, yeah, well, and I said, yeah, it's probably all BS, but it was entertaining. He said, it is entertaining.
It is that. Yeah, I'm sure any of those, even if it's supposed to be a true story, is, I'm sure, embellished and creative license in there. So
yeah. So yeah, that was just a tiny nugget of the SEMA experience, but it was a good one. So. Okay, well, I have a small van update.
Yes, please.
So last time I told you I went to drive it and turn the key and it didn't start.
Right.
So then I went off to SEMA and the guys took a look at it and it started right up. And it turns out that we've deduced that it had low battery voltage.
Oh, really?
And it's a Chrysler electronic ignition, and much like today's, like MSD electronic ignitions, they need all the volts that they can get to start. They won't even fire below like 11.5. So this van is a battery that got put in 6 months ago, but they put a jump box on it, and it started right up. And they're like, okay, fine. They let it charge for a while, and then they drove it a bunch of times, and it was okay. So when I came home, I put our load tester on it, and the battery passed with flying colors, although it did say it was low voltage. So our load tester has a charging system tester as well. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that my alternator is shot. It doesn't charge at idle. So idle charging voltage is like 10.
Oh, gosh.
So all this thing has done is really just kind of idle around.
Oh, yeah. So it's just been sucking the juice out of that battery.
Yep. So I have a new alternator. I've got to install when I get a minute, and that should take care of that.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's good. And they fixed a few other things, like the windshield wiper transmission on a lot of these Chrysler products had plastic bushings in the works. Mm-hmm. And if the bushings wore out, the wipers would fail. They would just flop all around. But for like a $3 set of bushings, you can put it back together and fix it. So
that's great.
And then
what about the wheels?
Yeah, so the wheel and tire story. So the guy that I've been courting for these wheels still has them.
Okay, good.
And Brian, our parts guy, I'm starting to call him the Swiss Army knife of parts guys.
Nice.
So the wheels are being sold by a dude in Central Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he won't ship them. They're mounted on, the tires are mounted, and he's like, no, you can pay me for them, but then you got to come get them. I'm like, I'm not driving to Central Michigan. So Brian's like, oh, I know a guy up there, drag week partner, buddy of mine. So short story is this dude in Michigan has offered to pick him up. He happens to work at a tire shop, so he's going to dismount the rubber. He's got wheel boxes at his job. He's going to throw all the wheels in boxes, and then he's going to bring them to the PRI show and hand them off to me.
Man.
I know. I'm like, Brian, this is unbelievable. And I texted him that, and he responds back saying, well, people, I know different people.
Nice. Brian with the clap back.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Love it.
So the only crapper of the whole situation is right now is this guy in Michigan is old school. He doesn't trust the internet. You can't pay him online.
Oh, gee whiz.
So he's like, I need a Walmart to Walmart cash transfer. It's like the only thing I'm going to do. And I'm like, what the heck is that even?
Yeah.
What is that?
How do you make that happen?
So I go online and it says, yeah, you can do his Walmart to Walmart thing. And he wants like $400 for the wheels. So for $400, Walmart wants to charge me like $68.
What?
I know. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I call him and I'm like, dude, I don't really feel like paying $68 for this.
Yeah.
And then he's telling me that I'm doing it wrong, and that if I bring cash to Walmart, hand it to them, they'll transfer it for like $6, and I don't know what I'm doing. But Walmart has to call him and me and give everybody code numbers and all this stuff. And I'm like,
can I just send you a check? For Pete's sake?
So that was my next question.
Yeah.
Can I just send you a check? Yeah, but it's got to be made out to cash.
Fine.
Well, yes and no, fine, right? So, for those of us who don't write checks really that much anymore,
can't really track who it went to.
Exactly. You can.
Right.
That's a way to pay somebody who doesn't either have or want to utilize their own bank account to deposit it and then take it out. They can just walk up, hand it to the bank, and the bank just gives them the cash. But if that gets lost in the mail, whoever gets it has the money.
Yeah.
They just cash
Good
it
as cash.
Like
yeah.
So I'm trying to find out if there's a thing like cash but must present ID or something, to match the name or what. I don't know. So it's been, so right now the deal's still not done. It's close, but it's not done. I know.
Oh, come on.
I'll get there. But I did get tires.
Yes, you did get tires.
I did get tires. And the cool thing there is that, I'm looking at all these tires, and the van we used to have when I was a kid had General Steel radials. And they were white outline letters, and the letters were huge. They were like 3 inches tall. on these big sidewall light truck tires. But it worked. That van is so big,
Right.
They look proportional, and it was a cool look. And I'm looking at all these tires, and there's all these different things you can buy. 15-inch raised white letter tires, there's not many, but I didn't want something that looked like a trailer tire, like a
Right. Yes.
belonged on a bass boat. So I found another set of Generals. I bought a set of General tires. They're General Ultimax is what they're called, and they have a raised white outline letter on the side, and it just says General, but it says it twice. It's written twice on the tire. The letters are much smaller, but they worked last time. They worked this time.
That's right. That is right.
And I was happy that they were in stock because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I had heard that they were having some trouble getting their stuff, but these showed up 2 days later and rock and roll.
I got a feeling not a whole lot of people are ordering those tires, the Generals.
In the 15-inch?
Yeah. So they probably have been holding on to those for a while, just waiting for you.
Well, I actually kind of think the opposite. I think that these are a fairly popular light truck SUV tire. So they're in like all the warehouses. Like those are commodity tires. They're ready to go.
I got you.
But when you're looking for a set of 37s for your Jeep or something, the specialty tires are the ones that are a little trickier to get. That
are on the back order.
Yeah. But
I got you.
But happy to keep that little tradition alive, and I'll be rolling on Generals in the van.
Generals and those turbine wheels.
That's it, man. Yeah, and then I went to get a set of keys made. I go to my local parts store, and they don't have Chrysler.
Do they laugh at you?
Well, they're like, we don't have those. Okay, fine. And I went to my local Ace Hardware store, which has a key cutting center.
Yeah.
Oh no, we don't have them. We can't get them. Okay. Well, if I get blanks, can you guys cut them? Yeah, bring them by. So my local AutoZone got me a set of blanks.
Oh, good.
The Hyco key manufacturing company.
Yes.
You got Ilco or you got Hyco.
Yes, yeah, right. The Ilco. That's what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, Hyko. So I did find a set of NOS uncut Chrysler blanks on eBay, and it was like $15 or something. And I just needed a set of keys like right now, just for safety of if somebody loses my keys. So I bought the Hyco blanks for $2. And I go down to my Ace, and it's a different guy. And I said, "Okay, here you go." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Can you cut these?" No, we can't cut your blanks. Well, why not?
Really?
Well, if you bring us a blank, we can't cut that. Well, why can't you? What's going to happen? Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, if we screw them up, then you're out and we're on the hook." And I said, "Well, then don't screw them up."
It's as simple as that, Skippy.
Yeah. Don't screw them up.
And
I said, "No, really, what's going to happen?" I said, "Do you think I'm going to sue Ace Hardware for $2 over
for a $2 blank?"
Blank. Well, it's against the policy. I can't do it. So part of me is like, I'm aggravated. But the other side, I'm like, well, this guy's good at his job. They told him not to do this, and he's not doing it. So that's fine. So I said, well, what about the other guy? Oh, he's sick, but, when he comes back, you can ask him, but he's not supposed to do it either. All right, fine. So as of today, I have an uncut set of keys and one set, which is the original set of those keys. So I got to just know where they're at. But to help me keep track of them, I did get the key ring, which...
Oh, yeah.
Was a good eBay score.
Yeah, the old style key ring.
Yeah. So it's an old style.
I love it.
Old style beer key ring that was sponsored by a distributor in Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
Oh, man.
And it says Happy 1984 on it. And I'm pretty sure my dad had that exact key ring.
Damn right he did.
So that was pretty cool that I discovered that. So It's the little things, you know.
Yeah, right. It just brings the whole thing alive.
That's right. So, yeah, lots going on. And this weekend, we'll be working the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals.
Yeah, man.
In Chicago.
I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. I just got the list of vehicles that I will be unveiling.
Cool.
From Mr. Bob Ashton and the crew at the MCACN show. So that's exciting. Some cool stuff.
Any more GSXs that I can screw up and not record because I'm screwing off talking to somebody and you just roll off and do it and I can't find you? Any of those? Any of those this time? I can just ruin it for you? Any more I can ruin for you at MCACN? Because, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time thinking about that because knowing that the GSX is only your most favorite car in the whole world and you got to unveil it, and I wasn't there to shoot it because I was screwing off. So tell me, is there any more of that I could ruin for you?
By the way, this was your opportunity to say it was growth. You were out of your element experiencing growth at that point.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. We'll find.
I sure don't want to do over that.
Well, the one that was killer that you did capture that we used in a little promo was the video of Adriana Straub, who is the spokesmodel for the MCACN show and also a drag racer herself.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we unveiled her own car to herself that she didn't know her family had restored for her. And she's pulling the cover off and crying, and I'm damn near crying. And that was another good one. So lots of tears on this show today.
Yeah, we're a bunch of babies. What can I tell you?
Must be. So she'll be back, and we'll see what happens.
Cool.
But at this point, people are crying over the fact they don't know the answers to our trivia questions. So we better get those out.
Yes, let's do that. All right. So, Kevin, I asked you, when did the Z06 Corvette first become its own model rather than just an option package?
Right.
And you said maybe 99, maybe 98.
Might have been a 2000.
Right around there, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 99. So you stuck with 99. And I'm going to give it to you.
Hey, right on.
Because I was really looking, even though I didn't say it, I was really looking for what generation it was. And it was a C5.
Yeah.
And the 99 is the C5. It actually came out in 2001.
Was it a one?
First.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to give it to you because you were in the right family. It was a C5, so you're a winner.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be a winner.
Absolutely. It's always a good time.
Yeah. All right. Well, so my question to you was how many Tesla parts does Advanced Auto Parts carry? And the hint was that it was over 11 years and 3 different models of Teslas.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I was able to look this up. I went to the website and I typed in year, make, model, and it gave me the inventory of all parts for that car. So that's where I got this number from.
Okay.
And the number they gave me was different from your guess of 0. But there's a caveat there.
Okay.
So they say 244. But in reality, they're all like wax, wiper blades, car care products, air fresheners. So really, it almost kind of is 0. So I'm going to give it to you.
Yay! Right on.
We're both winners.
It's a gimme kind of a show.
It is. Now we're all going to cry.
God dang it, this is beautiful.
Oh, man, that's great. Yeah.
Oh, right on, man.
So I had that thought at the SEMA Show, looking at all the installers and distributors and retailers, thinking if the EV revolution happens, what happens to all these businesses?
Yeah, adapt or die, man.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll find out on the next show.
If we live that long. And one more quick note. We had talked about the Artemis launch and the moon landing concept in 25 and the, speaking of Corvettes, the Corvette astronaut edition that we were talking about, whipping up for that. Well, less than 24 hours ago, to date the show, the Artemis took off on its unmanned mission around the moon, and it seems to be doing just fine so far.
Everything seemed to have gone without a hitch. Did you watch the launch?
I did not. It happened at 1:20 a.m. my time, and I was long gone by then.
Yeah. I watched a replay on the NASA YouTube channel. Yeah, so they have some pretty cool graphics on there and explaining everything that's going on.
Yeah, so. And there's even a guy in a suit it's an unmanned capsule at this point, but there's a guy in a suit in the capsule. There's a dummy, if you will.
Is there?
Yeah. And there's an over-the-shoulder camera that I was watching to see what it would look like being in there. So that was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's exciting though. That's a launch. It's a whole new era.
It is, and I was a little bummed. There was like a couple of false starts, and they kept delaying it. So I think that affected my excitement level. And they're like, "Yeah, it's going to launch at 1 a.m," and I'm like, "Yeah, right."
Sure, I'll be waiting.
And not that I didn't have any faith in NASA. I know how these things go. I mean, they might have broke the crank in half trying to start it.
I mean, the incompetence of it all.
Well, I mean, stuff happens. You just don't know. Yeah. So then I heard this morning that it took off, and I was dismayed I didn't get a chance to see it, but I was happy it went. And so the next one's in 24, and that's manned loop around the moon and back.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to be awake for that one. And then 25 with the landing, certainly going to be awake for that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I got to wrap this up, but there's a lot to talk about. Next time, I think we'll probably end up doing our MCACN recap, but also we need to get Kelly Oeste on the show for a couple of reasons. One, we want to recap the origins of this whole company, which we've never really done with her on the show, because that's a pretty good story. But also, she'll be able to tell us all about her article that she's been interviewed for and photographed for a little thing called the Wall Street Journal.
What? Get out of town.
I will be tomorrow.
Right on.
Yeah, but she got contacted by the Journal to do a thing on small business people and what they're facing these days and the whole deal. So
that's outstanding. Yes, Kelly Oeste. If you are listening to this show right now, you will be on the next show.
There you go.
And that is final.
There you go. Cue ball said so.
Yeah, she does so well with orders from other people.
But I do. So
yeah, same.
All right. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, that's great.
If you enjoyed this kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe to the V8 Radio podcast. You know what to do. You click the button, and then the magic just happens. Feel free to share your thoughts on our Facebook page or on the v8radio.com website. And of course, those unsolicited Apple Podcast reviews, thumbs up, and star counts are always appreciated. Mm-hmm. And for Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clarke, I'm Kevin Oeste, reminding you to shoot for the moon. Radio podcast, you know what to do. You click the button, and then the magic just happens. Feel free to share your thoughts on our Facebook page or on the v8radio.com website. And of course, those unsolicited Apple Podcast reviews, thumbs up, and star counts are always appreciated. Mm-hmm. And for Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clarke, I'm Kevin Oeste, reminding you to shoot for the moon.